Thank you, Johannesburg, for the most amazing day. I'd like to thank our amazing speakers who came from so far and wide, who inspired us today and shared their wisdom and their light. Let's give a big round of applause to all of our speakers. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the most incredible dream team of people who helped put today together with the most incredible professionalism and brilliance. I would like to thank Lawrence Horwitz, Rosie Hollander, please applaud. Nicole Knopp, Jolene Schwartz, Shira Evian, Heidi Hurwitz, Alexis Scholar, Tanya Page, Alexis Sirakis, Storm Pandaram, Or Corain, and Tracy Ribeiro. Thank you all. To an absolute dream team. And I know that now, after a day of wisdom and inspiration, we're ready to celebrate with magnificent music, all of us together to celebrate with the most beautiful music. But before we get to the music, need to share with you a most incredible story, and like to call on Rabbi Elimelech Goldberg to share a story in just a few minutes with us, a story that I felt we had to hear before we conclude with the most incredible celebration of our music this evening. So without further ado, I call on Rabbi Goldberg to address us.
There's a gentleman who walked into a cardiologist's office, and he sits down, and the doctor says, "Sir, what's the problem?" The gentleman responds, I think I'm a moth." "You think you're a moth?" He says, "Yeah, I think I'm a moth." So the cardiologist says, "You should have probably seen a psychiatrist for that, not a cardiologist." He says, "Yeah, I know." So he says, "So why did you walk in here?" And he said, "The light was on." Ladies and gentlemen, Sinai was about light, Sinai and Daba is about light, and on behalf of all of our speakers, I want to tell you, Johannesburg Jewry is about an incredible light that you're spreading through the world. So that brief word of thanks to the visionary of your chief Rav and the Rebbitzin and this community and the people who put things together behind the scenes that logistically testify to the soul of this community, because it really is all about light. I want to share with you briefly one of the first children that we taught power, peace, purpose to, that you can bring in this light and push out pain, fear, and anger and teach the world. There's a boy by the name of Boris. Boris, as his name might imply, came from the former Soviet Union. And Boris went not through one, but two bone marrow transplants because of a Ewing sarcoma tumor that was pressing against his chest. Boris had a lot of pain, but he was so taken by the martial arts of breathing in that light and pushing out pain, but he was also so embracing of the light of Torah, because somehow the former Soviet Union forgot to teach this young man about what it meant to be a Jew. Boris and I became very close. And he would call me up and say, "Rabbi G, how does a Jew do this or a Jew do that?" One day, the 17-year-old calls me up and he says, "Rabbi G, how does a Jew prepare to die?" His tumor was back, and his doctor said nothing for him. What do you tell a 17-year-old child how to prepare to die? And I said, "Boris, we don't prepare to die. As Jews, we prepare to live, but you have to understand, every day is life. When you get up in the morning and you could kiss your mom and say, Moda Ani, and thank God that you're alive. When you can embrace your friends and bring in this light despite the pain, that's greatness. And God willing, you'll do it one day and the next day and the next. In the meantime, I was able to get his scans from his hospital over to a friend of mine at Sloan Kettering, Lenny Wexler. Lenny's a great cancer doctor and a good friend, but I use his name because he could attest to this story because it's a wild story. At Memorial, they had a protocol, and Boris started to heal, and his tumor shrunk. And he calls me back one day and he says, Rabbi G, I just want to say God bless you. I said, Boris, God bless you. This child has been through so much pain, must have stopped for 2 minutes. And then he said, you know what? I think he has already. I couldn't talk. If the 17-year-old felt gebenched, he felt blessed, how are we supposed to feel? I remember telling him, I'll talk to you later, and I hung up the phone humbled by this young man. Unfortunately, about 14 months later, his tumors came back again with a vengeance, and even the great docs at Memorial Sloan Kettering had nothing for Boris. Now, mind you, today, cancer is a very treatable disease. This is a bit ago. And Boris was dying at home. And we came to Forest Hills, Queens to visit him from time to time. And one day, Dr. Wexler calls me and he says, Elimelech, I just want to tell you, Boris is going to die today. I was just in the house. So I called up his sister and I said, Ines, you do me a favor. Please put the phone by Boris's ear. She said, Rabbi Goldberg, it's too late. You see, my brother's been in a very deep coma for the last 2 days. He's totally non-responsive. Ines, I begged her, just please put the phone by Boris's ear. And she did. I could hear Boris's very, very slow breathing. And I said to Boris, Boris, remember we said that every day is life? No, it's every moment, but don't be afraid. I want you to look for a light, I told him. I want you to look for a light that's a reflection of your soul and God's love of you. Just look for that light. Then Inestia took the phone away from his ear, and Boris died very soon afterwards. I wasn't able to come to the funeral, but I came back a little bit later, and I came with my assistant to visit Boris's mom and dad. When I came to the apartment, before I could walk in, Boris's mom says to me, Rabbi Goldberg, you have to tell me, what did you say to Boris at the end? I said, Mrs. Niazov, why do you ask? She said, it was the most amazing thing. You see, my son had been in a deep coma for 2 days, totally non-responsive. After you spoke to Boris, Boris opened up his eyes, and then he sat up. We couldn't believe it. We were trying to get his attention, but it looked like he was looking for something. And then his face lit up as if he found what he was looking for. Tell me, what did you say to Boris at the end? My dear friends, this is not about dying. That everybody figures out. The real challenge of life is to live with light. To live with the light of Sinai. To take this light of Sinai and Daba and use it to illuminate your soul, so you know that you're an eagle, not a chicken, that you could fly. To use it to illuminate your homes, so your kids don't stop on the 20-yard line, and not even on the 50. They're there for the end goal. And you could use it to illuminate the nation of Israel. No matter how they try to press the button and destroy us, the light of the Jewish people is forever. Johannesburg, Sani and Daba, my dear friends, you have created a light, and that light that lights forever. Power, peace, purpose.